The question is, do we restart the segment or do we go with all of the, wait, actually, where are we at?
Thank you for joining the Escape With Me Book Club. Escape with me, Sam Reiner.
And me, Caitlin.
Into our most recent read. Come with us as we evade reality and go into detail about a new book. We'll be covering the book from beginning to end, so there will be spoilers. Today we are going to Fantasyland, Norway. Most likely. Published October 1st, 2019. We're getting there. Conceal, Don't Feel is the 7th goodness installment of the Disney Twisted Tale series. Now we look at what would happen if Anna and Elsa didn't know the other exists. But does Jin's retelling style add to the story or come off as lazy? To give you my thoughts a little early. Background. So this is interesting because the last book we were like, oh, Mirror Mirror kind of peters off at the end. It starts really strong and then gets worse. And we were like, well, maybe it's because she had to focus on this one. And if that's true, and this is the product, yikes.
So did Mirror Mirror and this one come out right at the same time, or?
They were back to back.
Okay.
I can get the exact date that Mirror Mirror came out.
I think they were both in 2019, though.
I think so, yeah. They had to have been written very close together. To be exact, yeah, Mirror Mirror came out in April, and this came out in October.
Yeah, so oofa doofa.
I don't know why they made the decisions they made, but they did. So that's kind of where we are with this. This is Jin's second book, and they put her back to back. Even though they were like, no, we need to take a pause and get more authors so poor Liz isn't dying out here.
Yeah.
But then they get Elizabeth Lim to do Milan, and then they were like, okay, bye. We'll see you again in like 8 books. But then they get Jin over here, and poor thing, back to back.
Back to back.
So, age level, this is still young adult.
Yeah.
And okay, we have the antithesis of Liz. You might need to help me with this, but all I had for content warning was death of parents.
Yeah.
That's all I had. We had Liz over there with paragraphs of darkness because she took the twisted very seriously. And then Jin's over here writing a PG movie.
Yeah, because, and like we're going to get into, this is basically just the movie all over again. And really the darkest thing that happens in the movie is the parents dying. So
arguably, this is less dark because in the movie, you see the ship go down.
Yeah, and here it's just hinted at.
In this book, they're just like, oh, they were lost at sea, so we assume they are dead.
Yeah.
If you wanted to, you could be like, they're still alive.
Yeah, you totally could. No, you're right. I think Death of Parents is really it.
Maybe she was writing this for another series. You know, like she was writing a younger
fanfic.com.
I'm just wondering if she was hired to write something for a younger series because there's so many Frozen books and retellings of the movie and all of those. So I wonder if she was writing one of those and then at the last minute they were like, oh, nope, we have a opening in Twisted Tales. Something fell through with Liz or whoever else because Liz is next. I don't know. It's very weird.
Yeah.
And I have publishing questions. Again, I have always had publishing questions with this series. But I have more of them. I would love to know the tea on this series.
Yeah, the behind the scenes publishing tea.
I question the editor sometimes, but I feel bad for them and literally everyone else. Whoever's in charge of the series has a continual headache.
Yes, they're just doing it to make the money, and who knows if they're really happy anymore. Are you good? Just blink twice if we need to come rescue you.
Probably.
And give you back to a good publishing company.
Probably. So Judge Bookclub's cover, just like everyone else, it's Frozen, except we're back to basically one color.
Yeah.
We had been talking about how the marketing budget had increased. Slowly, they've been adding more and more colors, but this one was just like, nah, blue.
Yeah, I mean, that feels kind of appropriate. I think really blue and white are the biggest colors for the Frozen movie. It really mimics the movie cover.
It is, but Snow White wasn't orange to begin with, and they had like orange and purple and red and green and all of the colors. I don't know. Anyway, it just made it look more like the Frozen movie posters.
And I think that's what they were hoping people would count on.
Because it's the movie.
Mm-hmm.
This is going to be our shortest one because I don't know what to say. What would happen if Anna and Elsa didn't meet each other? Literally the movie. Oh, a lot of the same things happens? No. She took the movie scenes verbatim and wrote them into the book.
And just put them, maybe barely rearranged the order, gave lines to a couple different characters. But literally it's, okay, so the moment where instead of just making her forget, they give her to a different family. And then it's just the same story, but with that twist. That's the only twist.
Yeah, because here's a couple of examples. Elsa's running away from the ball because ice powers. And instead of Anna yelling, Elsa, Elsa, it's Hans yelling, Elsa, Elsa.
Mm-hmm.
This is the differences we're dealing with the entire book. I just started putting insert movie scene here in my notes because I was so frustrated. Like the wolf scene is literally, I went back and first of all, I forgot about the wolf scene in the movie, but I was like, this sounds familiar. And I read the scene. I was like, okay, that sounds familiar. And then I looked it up on YouTube, a little clip. It's exactly the same as the movie.
It's just insert Hans into it.
I'm just so mad.
And I will say, I felt it had potential. And for one, too, I feel like I need to start speaking more to the audiobook narrators. This has been my favorite narrator so far. And so it's interesting because the 2 Jen books have been narrated by different people. So Mirror Mirror was narrated by Emily Wu Zeller. And then this one was narrated by Rachel Matthews. And I really liked her narration of everything. And I felt like she did a good job. So from the beginning, I was like, okay, this could be interesting. Like I liked getting to hear about her adopted parents and everything. And it was really interesting to see, because we know from watching the movie that Hans' original intention was to go for Elsa, but he just happened to meet Anna. So I was like, oh, well, this will be cool to see how he deals with Elsa and that kind of stuff. And then it just completely fell back into the path of the movie.
Yeah. Here, let's talk about the differences for a whole 15 minutes if we make it that far.
Yeah.
The difference here, the changing event is, of course, once again, verbatim, the scene of them playing together. And then she gets hit, and then they go to the trolls, and the scene of the trolls talking to them. I'm so tired. So they get there, and instead of Elsa being like, oh no, I don't want to hurt my sister, she gets upset because she doesn't want Anna to forget her powers because she's like the only one to be like, hey, this is cool. And she's like, no, I don't want to lose that. And so she tries to intervene, and that causes a curse to happen, where if Elsa gets too close to Anna, she will freeze her. And so the king and queen are like, well, we have to keep the heir, so I guess Anna's getting shipped out. Granted, I'm making it a little callous. Obviously, they were caring parents that were upset and trying to figure out a situation, but that's basically it.
Yep.
And so she gets adopted by these random bakery people in a town not terribly far away. And then once every other month, I side-eyed that a little bit, but once every other month, the mom will visit the town and hang out with Anna for a day.
Yep.
Woo.
That's it. Elsa still grew up lonely. Elsa still grew up wishing she had a sister, but also not knowing about her ice powers. That's one of the biggest differences, is she spent her childhood not knowing she had powers.
Yeah, because the curse hibernated them, and so she didn't get them until her parents died. Okay.
Well, the way they said it is until she needed Anna the most, which was when happened to be when her parents died.
Yeah, and then 3 years later, time jump, apparently it wasn't. I don't like the curse. I don't like the, when she'll need you the most. What does that even mean?
Yep.
She needed her the most when her parents died, not when Hans was being a jerk. I don't know.
So the powers woke back up when her parents died, but she didn't know that that's why her powers woke up. And then that's when the connection between her and Anna, it also felt like very, very Voldemort, Harry Potter, like they have now apparently this telepathic connection between each other now that these ice powers woke up and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. The curse was stupid.
I think it had potential. They didn't do anything new with it.
No, it was the same as the movie. They just used it as the reason she turns to ice instead of
the frozen heart thing.
Frozen heart was better.
This book almost actually rather feels like the first draft of the movie. And they're like, no, that actually doesn't work. That doesn't make any sense. So they changed it for the movie. But the difference is the book and the movie came out 6 years apart from each other.
Yeah. Although the first draft of the movie was radically different. It was actually fun. Going into Frozen, the movie, is actually a very fun time.
Oh, yeah.
And I've heard a lot of the scrapped songs, and those are also a fun time. Go research that. Screw this book. Go research that.
Yep.
It's way more fun, more fulfilling. So Hans gets to romance Elsa because Anna isn't there. And I kind of liked it because it was like, oh, he's being lovey, blah, blah, blah. And you want to see how he's treating Elsa different than he was treating Anna. Because the point is we're reading a different story.
Yeah. But no, he's using the exact same tactics, the exact same words. Like they do the whole finish each other's sentences thing.
Except they actually finish each other's sentences.
He has one mode, and apparently that's it. It doesn't matter who he's with, he's got one mode.
See, and I was okay with that because he was still doing it different. With Anna, he was rushing things and being like, oh, we're in love, da 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 da. But with Elsa, he's going slowly or whatever, but we don't really get to see much of them. We're told they do a lot of stuff together, but we only really see one scene. And then really early on, the author's like, hey, just a reminder, here's Han's perspective. He's still a jerk.
Yeah, he's a villain.
You couldn't have let it go for a little bit. We know. We've seen the movie.
And I think that's the thing. You could have either had someone be like, okay, maybe he is good in this version, but then said, nope, hashtag confirmed. He is 100% still a villain.
Very early on.
In one chapter.
Why? You didn't need that chapter. It's so stupid. Anyway, I didn't like it. And by the end, he betrays Elsa probably around the same time, but I had like 100 pages left.
Yeah.
This book is like 370 pages, I want to say.
Daggum, is it really?
It's really short comparatively.
Well, and here's the thing. If you need any indication of how much like the movie this book is, so my sister came into town this last week, so I did not get to start this book nearly as fast as I wanted to. So I was trying to finish the read through last night, and I fell asleep for 7 chapters. And I woke up this morning to finish it, and I didn't even need to go back and re-listen to it because I knew exactly what happened.
Yeah. So Google is saying it's 275, but that's not right. Google, you're like.
It not sped up. The audiobook is 6 hours, 46 minutes.
All right, Goodreads is telling me 316, so even less. So let's talk about how this is barely a book. What is the average book size now? Like 350 pages? That's pretty normal. Barely 300 pages. And so, okay, we don't have a lot to work with here. And then just copy pasting entire scenes from the movie.
Yep.
There's nothing in this book. This is going to be the shortest episode of the entire podcast because there's nothing to talk about.
How many ways can we say this was basically the movie and there were no changes?
And sometimes they made him act kind of out of character. I don't know. There was a scene with Kristoff, and I was just like, this doesn't feel right. And I was trying to be like, okay, remember beginning of the movie, people. What were they like in the beginning of the movie versus the end? Because Kristoff has a huge change from beginning to end.
Yeah, he does. Well, and I also felt that him and Anna didn't spend near as much time together as they did in the movie, and yet the ending was still the same.
Yes.
The relationship that they get to at the end where she gets in the sled and they kiss and everything, that exact scene happened in the book, but I don't feel like you dedicated enough time to building their relationship in the book.
No. Despite them having more time together, because she met him several times in the village. And it's like, oh, cool, we're going to get more of that. And then all of the time they have together is copy paste.
Yeah, and with Hans.
There's the barn scene where he's talking to Sven and whatever, and there's the being chased by wolves, and then he loses his sled, and that's it. Then they meet up at the end.
Basically, yeah.
So here's the thing that I was like, is this right? Because it's summer, he's delivering ice. Anna knocks into him, so the ice smashes, which...
It's still usable.
Yeah, first of all, how thick is this ice? Because they make it be like, oh, they smashed into crystal. If they were those solid blocks that we saw in the movie,
yeah,
there would still be a pretty big chunk left over, but no, it all gets smashed to smithereens because Anna lightly nudged him.
Yeah, because this man's like, I need it for my groceries. And I'm like, you can still use it for your groceries. Why are you so upset about this?
It's right there. Why does he only have one piece? I get it. Oh, yeah, customers, but you only had one piece of ice? You came to this entire town for one piece. You didn't have any others? Anyway, this scene is stupid beside the point. So he doesn't have the ice, and the dude's mad at him. And so he's like, okay, let me go get you more ice. I'll get it to you by this afternoon, which of course he's not happy about, which is fair. And he's like, but it would be so much faster if you give me that ice pick and the rope or something, I don't know. And the dude's like, I'm not giving it to you until you get ice. And then Anna has to step in because Kristoff has a temper about it and is getting really angry. And I was just like, he's grumpy. He's annoyed. But I've never in either of the movies do you see him angry. you know?
Yeah, and I mean, I might chalk that up to just the difference between being able to see the animated character with his soft features and then the man who voices him, I can't think of his name right now, because he's just a very soft person versus just reading this on a page, you know?
I guess. It was just weird. I was just like, that feels off. But there's another scene. So Anna ends up using stuff she has to get him the ice pick. And it was lame because in the movie, she gets the ice pick because he's like, I need to buy this ice pick and he doesn't have money. And so she's like, hey, I'll buy this stuff for you. And she buys it for him. And she's like, you will take me up the mountain. But here she was just like, here you go.
Yeah.
It weakened it for me.
Very. This book, more than anything, I feel like relies on everything that you know and understand about the movie to stretch your brain to the differences for the book. And it does. It feels, like you said, a little lazy.
Yeah. And it's, like I said, with Elsa in the beginning, it was kind of interesting.
Yes.
Because obviously you don't know what's happening. I mean, you get the question on the front of the book, but you're like, okay, I don't know what that means. So it starts off and she's hanging with her mom and dad, which is really cool. And I noticed immediately that she didn't discover her ice powers. I said she never discovered them, but apparently like they were dormant because she was like, oh, strangely, the goblet was ice cold in her hand. I was like, okay.
Yeah.
She doesn't know about her powers. Interesting. Where is this going? And my little note being snippy about the fact that she can't manage more than once every other month for her forgotten daughter. Okay.
No. I'm calling you on that. It's just not that they couldn't manage it. There was a whole conversation between her and the dad saying, you're going too often and it's raising suspicion. You need to back off.
And you couldn't write letters at all. You couldn't have sent somebody else. There's so many things they just didn't do.
Well, with the cover they established, she's a mom's best friend kind of things.
Yeah, she can write them. There were so many things where I was like, you could have tried some creative problem solving, but you guys were just like, nah, let's continue in the problem.
Well, that's always the case.
So he gives her a box with a strange lining, and oh my gosh, Elsa is dense.
They both are.
Fair. But she gets this box, and okay, yeah. And he's like, oh, there's something special in there for us that will provide you guidance once they're gone. And so I immediately was like, oh, there's something in the lining.
Yeah, 100%.
Or magic. And she was just like, okay. And she stores the box away and whatever, fine.
And never looks at it after they die.
I'll give her, she forgot about it. I'll give it to her. Olaf 3 times tries to pick up the box and drops it and goes, this is heavier than it should be.
Uh-huh.
And it's not until he breaks it that she's like, oh my gosh, I see there's something in there.
Yeah.
Elsa.
Come on.
Anna is also dense.
Yes.
The amount of stupid they had to make her for Anna to not piece together that her parent was the queen.
Yeah.
That's another reason I'm mad at them, because it's like, oh, we're doing this and whatever. And I get the king being like, you can't do this anymore. Yeah, because you guys are doing it stupidly. If anyone with 3 brain cells to rub together would have figured it out. They're just, oh my gosh, they're just so dumb. They don't do anything to try to change her face or anything. So if Anna had seen a passing glance of what the queen looked like, which I feel like you would somewhere. Anyway, Anna's stupid. And even when her parents are right in front of her being like, oh, we can't talk about her adopted family. Oh no. Anna's like, what could they be talking about?
Yeah, she's like, I'm just going to accept that they have secrets they can't tell me. I'm sorry. No.
What 16-year-old?
Yep. Like we said, dense.
Also, to add to the Kristoff thing, to go back to the Kristoff thing as I'm looking through my notes, Kristoff steals? That's a new character trait.
I wouldn't have been surprised about that from the movie.
I was like, when did you turn into Aladdin?
He's got a little bit of that rogue boy energy.
He does, but he doesn't steal. There's nothing to be like, oh, he's so poor he has to steal or anything like that. He's poor, but anyway, that fell out of character, but that's beside the point.
Yeah. They just needed to have a meet cute earlier on. And again, you think maybe there's going to be some established history, some established relationship. Obviously, he comes into this village often to sell ice and that kind of stuff, where he continues to do it after this first meet. But no, there's nothing. The next time they meet, he's like, oh, I remember you from 3 years ago when we glanced eyes across the square. What?
Yep.
Again, no, you don't deserve the relationship and the chemistry that you're using from us having already read.
The man who runs the market needs his is ice more than once every 3 years.
Right? I'm assuming we're on a cyclical summer cycle and that summer will come every year.
Daily ice is kind of needed, and they're just like, nope, we just never saw each other ever again, even though it's a small town and everyone knows everything, and an ice seller coming by would be the town gossip because, hey, something new.
Yep.
Ugh. Anyway, Elsa, her parents are gone, so she's looking through the attic and she finds stuff about Anna, and it's actually pretty good. I liked this mystery setup where she's like, why is there a box, a hope chest like mine, but with an A, and what is this family painting and whatever, and like looking through the attic, even though they mentioned horned helmets and Vikings never had horned helmets, so that's beside the point. Sigh.
Yeah.
But I don't understand why they stored her hope chest in the attic instead of just giving it to her when she was a kid.
Well, I mean, if you think about it, they didn't even give Elsa her hope chest until she was much older. And so it's probably one that they had made for her as a baby, but didn't plan to give it to her until she was older, but then couldn't. And plus, I mean, it's a very royal family kind of thing, type heirloom. And so it's something she wouldn't have been able to take along with her without raising suspicion. I don't know. That's just what my suspension of disbelief is telling me.
I don't know. Anna seems dense enough. They could have given it to her. This is just a plot device so Elsa could be like, oh, who's Anna?
Who's A? Because that's the thing. It didn't even say Anna. She's like, who's A? And then later, Olaf's like, where's Anna? And she's like, wait, is that who A is?
Yeah.
Apparently we're back in Pretty Little Liars.
And by the way, here's the second thing. Elsa makes Olaf with her ice powers, and he just hides in her room.
I know, for 3 years.
And it also weakens it because, you know, she made Olaf and he had the potential to melt. Like, he saved Anna's life despite the fact that he was melting.
That's so true.
Because he's selfless like that. But he has the flurries. He has the flurries the entire book.
From the very beginning, yeah.
What is the point of Olaf in this book?
He's just there as that person. He's like, well, I remember Anna, but I don't remember why Anna, basically. And he's there to remind both of them what's going on.
Literally, you could have had Lord Peterson slip and be like, oh, Anna or something, and Olaf would not have been needed.
Yeah. You cannot tell me that this snowman wasn't discovered in the 3 years, because in the 20 pages of current life that we get,
he sucks at it.
He literally caused 3 different crashes in her room.
He's terrible at hiding.
You know, and she's like, oh, I left my window open. There's a bird, BRB. And you can't tell me that for 3 years he's been in that room and hasn't caused any chaos.
Because this is 3 years of experience, Olaf.
Yeah, come on.
Yeah. But you also can't tell me that if it happened enough, imagine that happening all the time. I feel like the people would have been used to it at the same time. It's so weird.
Yeah, but also, why, if you hear a huge crash from the queen's room, no one's listening to you to say, oh, I left my window open. What if someone's trying to walk into her window and assassinate her? You can't leave your window open, princess. That's dumb.
Yeah.
Doesn't make any sense.
So Coronation Day arrives. Okay, so she decided, I think she had a bone to pick with the movie. She decided to make the Duke of Wesselton not only annoying, in your business, old man, I'm more important than you, little lady, but tries to make him usurp the kingdom. He takes over the kingdom. He is villainous all of a sudden. He's not just annoying. Oh my goodness, she almost killed me with ice powers, which, I mean, a little bit fair. We give him a hard time about it, but I think I would be a little distressed as well. But no, he's just like, Hans, you need to propose to Elsa. And then at the end, he's like, oh, I'm taking over the castle and I'm telling the soldiers what to do instead of Hans. It takes away from Hans. Hans is the worst. But no, the Duke Wesselton is the mastermind behind this. Why?
He's also not great.
She had a bone to pick. She was mad.
Yes.
And just made him way worse than he was. But anyway, the coronation day happens, and another difference is she never gets coronated as queen. She's still a princess through the entire book.
Yeah.
Because she doesn't make it that far. But this is definitely the part where I started putting insert movie scene here.
Yep, because it does. It is literally just verbatim.
Verbatim. Because she gets her memories back because there's a painting in the secret box that was what was in the lining, and so she gets all her memories back, and she remembers making cookies with Anna, which, okay, that's new, but then insert the whole children's snow scene here, verbatim. And if this is the author's modum operandum, she should not do modern books. It worked so well in Snow White. Why? Because there was literally no one talking in that movie every once in a while.
Yeah, well, and like the movie is so much older, but like I said, there is 2013 to 2019, like 6-year difference between Frozen coming out and this book coming out. Very fresh on our minds.
And Frozen has a lot of words. Everyone's motivation is explained at all times. And so her coming in and retelling it is just retelling the movie because there's nothing else to add.
Yeah.
Oh, Snow White cleaned the house. Why did she do that? That seems weird. It's like, oh, because she didn't want to think about the fact that her loving stepmother wants her dead. It's like, okay, that's fair. What is there to say in this one? Hans wants to marry the queen to take the throne because he's the 13th son. Yeah, we know. We've been there. Ugh. It was a terrible pick for her. Does she do any more? Now I'm curious.
Yeah, she does go the distance.
Okay, I think I remember that.
Yeah. So it's Elizabeth and then Liz and then Jen, Liz, Farrah, Elizabeth, and the anthology.
Here, I can go to the wiki page because that one has farther than Disney Books has. And once again, Disney Books, let me check just out of curiosity. Yep, we're still missing Aladdin and we're still missing Unbirthday on the Disney Books site.
Oh, that's right. I forget about those.
I have questions. I have so many questions. Oh my gosh. But maybe Hercules would also be a better pick for her. I could totally see her coming in and being like a little bit more motive.
I don't know.
It's a better pick than Frozen.
Yeah, I don't know. And I feel like Frozen was going to be hard to do anyway because, like you said, Frozen became so popular and there were so many remakes and so many little things here and there and people attempting to adapt it. But it was such a popular movie that we saw this movie dozens of times.
Yeah.
I mean, because it was genuinely good, but it was definitely a little overhyped. And so this felt a little bit like, okay, we need to get back in on that money grab.
So Jen also wrote the Incredibles book that we still have not gotten in the US.
Oh, okay.
So that's 4. And then she announced that she's writing a 5th one. So we will see what that is. We will see if we will even get that one. And then, of course, she's in the anthology. She does Cinderella and Brave in the anthology and Hercules again in the anthology. Interesting. So she's coming back. Hopefully she just finds a better pick for her retelling style because I am flabbergasted at whoever approved this book.
Yes. Like you said, I think it was just a money grab.
She's not a back-to-back. Anyway, I do like how they play up the winter situation more because I always think in the movie where it's like, oh, it's summer and then the winter happens and then, oh, we're back to normal and it's fine. And I'm just like, all your crops are dead. You're gonna starve in the summer and the winter. And then you get to this book and they're like, oh no, if we don't solve anything, which by the way, that level of snow, your crops are dead. It doesn't even matter.
Yeah.
Your trees are already also probably dead because they're like, oh, we can't even be out there. We can't even see the hand in front of our face. There's so much snow. It's up to the 2nd story of the castle. There's nothing to save.
Yeah. I was thinking that when they were like, yeah, the houses that you could just barely see the rooftops of, finally you'd see the whole house again. I'm like, yeah, people definitely died, fam. Like there were people who couldn't get out of those houses and then froze to death in their houses. Not enough firewood. Exactly. So yeah, sorry, fam. People definitely died.
And they're immediately like, oh my gosh, we're back to normal. It's fine. And once again, in the movie, when they don't bring it up, you don't think about it. But a part of me is like, yes, thank you for bringing it up. But the other part of me is like, you can't bring it up and then put it under the rug.
Yeah, you need to really address, does the magic fix this? Is she able to truly just bring it back to summer and revive the plants and blah, blah, blah? But they don't touch it at all.
You can't just cut off a major trading partner at this point. You need food.
Yeah. 2 major trading partners. I mean, 'cause in theory, it's Wesselton and the Southern Isles.
No, it's not the Southern Isles, only because Elsa's like, oh, I wrote a letter to your brother, so they'll beat you up.
Oh, that's true, I guess.
And I'm just like, did she have brothers? Because that was such a stereotype 1990s of, oh yeah, your brothers are gonna beat you up, haha.
Well, there was a conversation when he was talking about having having brothers versus not having any siblings, where he talked about how horrible his brothers were to him and the stuff that they did to him. So I think she was aware of their sibling dynamic.
Yeah, I don't know. That was as kids. You're adults now. Throw them in the dungeon. We don't need to have beat him up. Be an adult. Throw him in a dungeon. Be like, hey, you tried to royally screw us over with Arendelle. Thanks for that, buddy. Treason charges. I'm surprised they sent him back. Treason!
Yeah, a lot of treason.
Why is he getting to go back? It's just so many thoughts. So many thoughts about all of this. But anyway. Also, I'm not sure about the characterization of Elsa being like, I can't focus on anything but this letter. Screw my people. I just need to find Anna.
Yeah. Again, it's just a plot device.
It's the opposite of what Elsa would have done in the movie. It is a plot device because she needed to run away for some reason. Her ice powers needed to appear for some reason other than, hey, I'm getting married to a random dude I just met.
Yep.
Elsa gets criticized in the movie for never taking Anna into account when she does stuff. And so this book is almost trying to retcon it and being like, well, she loves Anna so much, that's why she did this. And it's like, cool, she shouldn't be queen.
Yeah.
She is a terrible ruler. Now that you've decided she will just abandon her people on the whiff that she might meet Anna, but also she still needs to make her ice castle because that happened in the movie.
Yeah, so we have to have the duplicate scene.
I don't think it did her favors other than just shift it to the other side. And I liked the second movie ending anyway.
Well, where Anna ends up being queen.
Where Anna ends up being queen and Elsa gets to go do her magic with a society of people that get it / maybe or maybe not gets a girlfriend.
Yeah, and I agree because even in this one, like they made so many comments like Peterson, right? You're going to be a great ruler. You are your father's daughter. You are going to do this well. They were trying to build her up so well because she was all alone and then just nothing. She's like, oh, okay, nope, I'm just going to abandon it because I need to push the story along. And that's what it felt like instead of actually giving you a valid reason. Like you said, she didn't become queen and then leave. You didn't actually get that moment of like, yes, like she made it through the coronation ceremony and she became queen and now she's got to figure this out.
Yeah, there was no inversion of expectations because the first time in forever, Elsa's entire point was, oh my gosh, I'm not going to be able to do this.
Yep.
They're going to find out about me. They're not going to be able to do this. And they kind of have that in this book, but she never makes it to that point.
Nope.
I think it weakens it. So many things in here, it just weakens.
It does.
That's all I can say with this.
Like I said, how many different ways can we say this is just the movie but worse?
Yeah. Go watch the movie.
For real.
Don't spend. How much is this book? How much would you have to pay to read the movie?
Well, for me, it was an Audible credit, which is about $15 a month. So.
Jeez. This is $11.72 on Amazon.
That's probably how much you paid to see the movie back in 2013. So just go watch the movie on the Disney Plus subscription that we all have.
For real, though? It's $24 used on thrift bookstores. Jeez.
Wow, because you got to pay for shipping and stuff.
$14 on eBay, $7.20 through Walmart, $17.32 if you want to buy it just on Audible. Oh my gosh.
Oh, yeah.
Just to watch the movie, except worse. And I kind of knew that going in, because this was one of the ones I've actually seen a review about way back when, before we started doing this. And they were like, hey, it's the movie. And I was like, oh, that kind of sucks. Whatever. But it's the movie, but worse. I can't emphasize enough, but worse.
Yeah. I was actually for the first time in forever, when I finished the audiobook, it gave me the reviews that people have on Audible. And it really does vary. There are a lot of people who were like, hey, it was great. It was close enough to the story that my kids could still understand it, because again, this is targeted for a very young adult tween audience.
Well, I mean, this one is mid-lit.
Yeah.
I could argue this one's mid-lit. The rest are YA. Most of them like 17, and we'd be like older YA, but this one could be a middle schooler. I could give this to my elementary school-year-old niece right now with no qualms.
Yeah, exactly. But then, for people who are wanting to read it for themselves, they're like, this is basically the exact same story, no changes, waste of a credit kind of thing. So it really just goes back and forth.
To go back to the castle scene from earlier, just to keep going and desperately trying to have a conversation, I snippily said she has to make an ice castle. Because why? In the movie, she does it because she needs a fortress to hide away in where she can truly be herself. In the book, she's desperately searching for Anna and decides to go to the tallest mountain.
Because that's where she's going to be.
Yeah, and make an ice palace and then leave.
Yep.
And the only reason you have the Ice Palace is she has a place to go back to for Hans to catch her to copy what happened in the movie.
Yep.
It was dumb.
I need to set up in a different way the ability to make the scene, the exact same scene from the movie happen. That's what it came down to.
Yep. Heaven forbid we get creative. Why would she build a castle? Why wouldn't she build something else? She didn't even make Snowball, I don't think.
Yeah, no, I don't think it really gave us that or not.
So the letter she sort of remembered because she skimmed it while she was reading it when everyone was yelling at her she needs to leave. And I don't know why she couldn't have just brought the letter with her.
Yeah.
Put it in your pocket. Take it with you. Once you get there, you're already running late. It's going to take a minute for a coronation to happen. Read it then.
Yeah.
I don't understand why she had to run away. I don't know. It's the opposite problem. So let me explain it like this. Teen Titans has two girls. One who's like, oh, the way to control my powers is through emotion. I have to feel it. I have to be able to da-da-da. And then the other one is like, hey, I have to control it. And so I feel like you took Raven and turned her into Starfire. Her whole thing is conceal, don't feel.
Yep.
And then all of a sudden she's just making emotional decisions.
Yep. And it's not even, you can't even use the excuse like, oh, well, she's adapting to the ice powers. No, you canonically said it's been 3 years that she's been dealing with it and learning how to get it under control.
Yep.
Yeah. And again, these stupid little inconsistencies and that kind of stuff too. So I remember listening and there was a whole scene where she's getting fitted for the dress, right? And they're talking about how they're doing final fittings because it needs to be made the perfect dress for her, even though there's things about it she doesn't like, right? And then later when she's in it, the line literally is something along the lines of, it's like it was a dress made for a completely different person and not her. And I'm like, this thing was tailor made for you and your body. It's just you're looking for a way to feel discomfort in anything.
Yeah. And when she's like, I need a new dress, basically, and she makes herself the ice dress because movie, she made it sound like it doesn't fit right.
Yep.
And that was her issue. And she was like, oh, it was made for a completely different person. It wasn't just, oh, I feel like a high collar is constricting. I feel like I'm being suffocated or something like that. It's like, okay, I can get that.
Yeah.
Like, I don't like colors either. But no, it was like you said, oh, this doesn't fit right, basically. It's not made for me when it was literally made for you.
Yep.
At any point in this conversation, you could have been like, hey, this is a little heavy, and they would have changed it.
Yep.
They didn't come up with this pattern to torture you. They came up with it very slowly.
It's been 3 years in the making. Yeah. Just those little things.
Yeah. So yeah, she doesn't have the letter anymore because she's dumb and short-sighted and emotional for some reason. So she remembers the word like Valley of the Living Stone or Living Rock. And so she's the one who gets the big summer blowout scene. Lame.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, yeah, I have maps, and gives her a map. And Elsa's like, well, it doesn't have it, but that looks right. And then she goes to the Valley of Living Rock. How has this not been found by other people? It's that easy.
It's that easy. And then too, that also speaks to something. So much of this is the whole deja vu. Like, man, I feel like I've been to this place before. And then all you have to do to get someone where they need to be is be like, oh yeah, you've been there before. So therefore you know exactly where to go. Sorry, that's not how memory works, fam.
No.
You've been there once when you were freaking 8 and it's literally been like over 10 years later. You wouldn't know exactly where to go even looking at it on a map.
Magic.
I know.
It really is stupid. More people should have found it. It's not labeled, but it's on the map.
Yep.
No snowbound traveler was like, oh my gosh, there's a hot spring over there. Let's go get warm.
Well, and then the fact that when they explain how Kristoff found that family and all that kind of stuff, I'm sorry. So you're telling me in the history of this nation, very, very few people have found this completely obvious place. No.
Oh, but they can turn it to rocks so they look normal. Yeah, why aren't more people still coming? Forget the rocks. Maybe he's like, okay, yeah, you don't notice that there's trolls there. But once again, hot spring in the middle of winter. That would be a tourist trap.
Yep.
Oh my goodness. Yep.
Yeah, just big size.
So she goes there and Grandpappy is like, hey, here's what the curse is. You can't see Anna. Well, when will the curse end? When you need her most. And that's when I wanted to throw the book across the room. But I didn't because I read it on Kindle, so I'd be throwing my phone.
Can't do that.
It's so stupid. It's just so contrived. And it doesn't actually make sense as a curse. And it's literally just to have drama so they don't do the ice heart thing. The ice heart thing was so much much better.
It really was.
Hans's speech to Elsa about, oh, I didn't really love you, not good. Elsa didn't really like you either. But it was devastating for Anna because she was obsessed with him. She was in love with him.
Mm-hmm.
And then at her weakest moment, she's literally dying. And he's like, oh, sucks to suck, puts out the fire, turns off the candle. Oh, it was so much better in the movie. So sad.
Yep, very sad. It just, again, this is just how many ways can you say it's the movie but worse?
Yeah. So Elsa sulks in her castle because she can't be near Anna because she's a terrible ruler and doesn't even spare a fleeting thought for anyone else. Hans shows up and at first he's like, hey, we're good. It's totally fine. I get you. Blah, 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 blah. And then he reveals he read the letter about Anna and now he's like, haha, actually my new plan, I'll just marry Anna and the lost princess and blah, blah, blah. And this was where we had 100 pages left and I was like, this is a little early.
Yeah.
I feel like the movie Hans' reveal was pretty close to the end.
It wasn't. It was very well timed.
Yeah, it was the perfect timing. It was so smart. He didn't need to tell Elsa this. And in fact, if he hadn't, he'd probably be more successful. If he was just like, I have other plans now or something. But he just culprit foils their own plot by being like, hey, I'm going to find Anna and this is how I'm going to take over your da-da-da. And then she gets upset. You didn't need to upset her. This is stupid.
It is.
The reason he turned on Anna is because she couldn't fight back. He's a coward.
He really is.
He's a smart coward, but he's a coward. So why in the world would he be like, it's okay, Elsa, I'm just gonna marry your sister and maybe murder her if she doesn't do what I want? Why are you stupid?
He's just the most. And this was an issue with the movie too that I always found. It's like, I'm sorry, you can't expect to get in, marry the youngest daughter, and then somehow kill off the queen with no one figuring out that it was you. And it's the same thing with this. He immediately was like, well, if Elsa doesn't let me stand up and if I can't put her in her place, well, then there are ways to make that happen. My man, no one's gonna trust you.
Yeah. He was doing so well. And then the same reason I feel like, wow, him having a viewpoint was stupid. So the castle scene happens, and instead of Anna calming Elsa, I can't remember at this point, but her guards calm her instead. And so she gets taken and whatever. And then we have the wolf scene, except instead of Anna saving Kristoff, Hans does.
Yeah, which, why?
Lame. So for no reason whatsoever, Kristoff just decides to hate Anna because Hans is like, oh, I will go with you and we will solve the issues. And Kristoff is like, no, we should not solve the issues. You need warmth and whatever. And she's like, but I will need to go to the Valley of Living Rock, which is a hot spring. Kristoff, you were so down to get her there because hot spring. And now you're just like, Anna, we should go home. With what sled? How?
Yep.
It's faster to get to the valley at this point. It was so stupid. There was no reason for it. We need Kristoff to stop being an important character because that's what happens in the movie. So Hans and Anna are alone and whatever. And the Duke is at the castle keeping Elsa trapped in prison and imprisoning other Arendelle people. This dude went to treason so fast.
Yeah, he really took over quickly.
This author hated him with a burning passion.
Which is funny because in the movies, like you said, he's funny, annoying, and again, it's Alan Tudyk who voices him. How do you not just find him? Yes, he's annoying, but he's funny.
It's the counterpart to the old biddy asking when you're gonna have children.
Yeah.
That's what he is. And no, treason, murder the queen, princess, I'm in charge here, I'll throw whoever I want into jail. What? Okay. So Anna has amazing sister powers, and so this entire time she's been like, oh, we need to get to the valley, to the valley, to the valley, and Elsa has been in prison for a while, but all of a sudden she's like, no, we need to go to the castle. Thankfully Hans already said that, and she was just like, yes, I agree with this. But is there like a 3-day travel period for these sister powers? Do we need to refresh every 24 hours? Is that what this is?
Yeah, I don't know.
You're a little out of sync. Whatever. Kristoff gets to the valley instead of Anna, and so we don't get the love expert moment, even though they mentioned that they're love experts. What's even the point?
Yeah, he was just like, oh, I can't tell him that I brought a girl because of their reaction. I'm like, okay.
So we get there, and he's like, hey, where's Anna? And they're like, Anna never came. He's like, oh no. And so he's going to go back to the castle. Like I said, Kristoff stopped being important after the wolf scene because he does the thing he does in the movie. Oh no, I must rush to save her. And then gets there after Anna's frozen.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, literally, you get the scene where he's like, oh no, I've got to go. And then you cut to him getting there and Sven falling through ice and then getting him out of the ice. And then he's just there when Elsa's like, oh, who's this raggedy blonde dude?
Which was hilarious. I agree so full-heartedly. She doesn't know who this guy is in the movie. She doesn't even faze her, but I did appreciate that in the book. But the thing with that was they were running, the ice was cracking for some reason. I don't know. The ice cracked and Sven fell into the water. So Kristoff was like, we must go on, or be careful, Sven, or something like that. And I was like, okay, so he's going to go on foot. And then later on, he shows up on Sven. The insanely wet reindeer. What? That felt like a inconsistency.
Yeah, that's fair.
Continuity! Anyway, Anna finally gets to the castle and she's getting more memories. And apparently the way the curse works is, the curse isn't working if Anna has all of her memories, even though Elsa already has all of her memories. And if the kingdom remembers that there's a princess. Okay, this is stupid. I hate this curse.
So someone listening, some random fan out there, please count up at the end how many times Sam has edited in, this is stupid. I need a count.
So Hans tells her the truth about who she is and is like, hey, here's the letter from your parents. But he won't let her see it. Why did you even bring up the letter if you're just going to be like, here's the letter for your parents? Not going to show it to you, though.
Yeah. And of course, she's going to want to see it. And he's like, oh, no, it's better that you not.
And he's about to burn it when Peterson, who had been locked in the dungeon by the Duke, but somehow got out. That is never clarified. But he bursts through the door and distracts Hans before the window explodes. What? It got so cold that the window is exploding. We do not have crops.
Yeah, what even is this scene? And luckily, a freaking frozen snowman gets on top of Anna, so she's shielded by glass.
So Anna gets the letter and goes to the prison, except Hans shows up and is like, haha, the curse is not broken. So this is why Elsa breaks out of the dungeon, not because she's in extreme agony, but because she is desperately trying to stay away from her sister. Okay, I'll accept it. Fine, whatever, we're almost done anyway. Hans and the guards go after him before Anna can, and so she's like, oh no, I must catch up to her first. And once again, I never understood the logistics of this situation.
Yeah.
Because Anna's out front first, running forward, and I know eventually people have a tendency to run in circles, but real fast, Anna catches up to her. Not the guards or Kristoff or anyone else out there.
No, I feel like Hans catches up to her first. So it's the exact same of what happened in the movie. She's there, she's laying on the ground because she's so defeated, and Hans sees her and starts talking to her, and Anna catches up, and that's when she sees him going to strike her, and she runs in front. It's literally exactly how it happened in the film.
Yeah, I did put insert Anna saving Elsa scene.
Yeah, identical.
Yeah, she saved and the curse is broken, and Lord Peterson gives them the letter that they can read it together, because why be able to read the letter in the beginning of the book? Gotta save it for the end.
Yeah, we've had to wait the entire book to get to here, yeah.
Well, that's the thing. It tells you everything you already know.
Yes, exactly. It's, oh, cool. If we had read this in the beginning, we could have saved ourselves a lot of heartache. Cool.
But even as a narrative point, it's not like oh, this is really gratifying to finally read this. It's literally everything we already know. Hey, this happened, and there's this curse, and then this is where Anna is, and blah, 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 blah. It's like, yeah, we know. Oh, and we're so proud of you, Elsa. Screw you, Anna. I mean, granted, it was a letter written to Elsa, but as a narrative plot to be like, let's read this together. Whatever. They read the letter, and they feel good, and Elsa learns love is the opposite of ice. I still have questions.
Same thing as the movie. So I get that you have these memories from when you were a child flooding back. And so you're like, oh, wow, like there is this whole other person that I remember loving and now they're here. So I'm so excited. But also, again, it feels cheap because in the movie, you have Anna who has loved her sister despite their distance and their complicated relationship for these 18 years or however long it's finally been, right? But in this, they haven't seen each other since they were respectively like 8 and 5 years old. And then they just got all their memories back. And that's that's enough love, quote unquote, to break this curse.
Yeah, the love they had when they were 5 will save them all.
Exactly.
So, epilogue, everything returns to normal after a couple of days. Whatever. Hans and the Duke get cast off.
Again, it's the exact same ending as the movie. You didn't even need to write it.
Anna's the one who punches Hans. I'm mad about that. Elsa should have punched him. It was stupid.
I thought Anna's the one who punched him in the movie.
Yeah, and in the book. And Elsa should have punched him in the book. Because Elsa was the one who dealt with him.
Oh, that's fair.
But no, Anna punches him. You basically had an afternoon's worth of conversation with this man. It's not satisfying that you punch him. Elsa's been the one dealing with him.
That's true. Yeah, she is the one he screwed over this time.
Whatever. So Anna visits her family. It's like, hey. And they're like, hey.
Yeah, very little resolution on that. You'd think she'd move them to the castle. She'd give them new baking things. And they're like, nah, just make sure to come back to visit. Come on, fam.
Yep, one day I'll take you. Even though it's canon that they're getting too old to run their shop and they can't do it without her. Okay. Not even gonna hire a replacement for her. And then all I have to add here is insert Anna giving Kristoff a new sleigh.
Exact same.
And insert ending scene.
Yep, the ice skating scene.
Yep.
The only thing new we get, the only thing I'll give it, is the thing where they talk about how Anna and Elsa will sit on their bed at night and Anna will ask questions about their parents. That's the only new thing we get. That's in line with the book.
For some reason, this makes me think of earlier in the book. Here's an example of we're getting the same scene, but we're getting it different. The wolf scene. Were you raised in a barn? No, I was raised in a castle. Book. Were you raised in a barn? No, I was raised in a bakery. It really doesn't have the same punch.
No, it doesn't.
Like, that's the joke. She was raised in the opposite of a barn. Whatever.
You could still have bad manners being raised in a bakery.
It was funny because it was a reverse of expectations. That's the book. I have nothing else to comment about because that was the book.
Yep, that is it. That is the whole book.
General thoughts, watch the movie.
Yep, don't bother. We've told you what you need to know. There's not a twist. There's not an interesting, like, oh, well, it's interesting to see how this character is portrayed kind of thing, like there are with some of the other books. Nope, it's all basically the same. Just watch the movie.
Yep, it's the movie with deleted scenes. And the deleted scenes aren't good.
Or alternate endings.
There are no alternate endings. It's the exact same ending.
No, I mean, because there are some differences. It's not like it's deleted scenes that insert in and give you a different perspective. It is minor differences, but it's the same thing. No, it's the movie, but if they'd rearranged scenes.
And who did what?
And given some dialogue to different characters.
This is not a twisted tale.
It's a fanfic through and through.
If you made it this far, congratulations. You probably hate the book as much as we do. I ended up giving it a 3 stars because it was competent, but only because it copies a very good movie.
Yeah, exactly. Everything that's good about the book is from the movie.
It's fine. I'd probably give it less stars if I had to buy it, but if it's free, whatever, it's not good. But I'm not mad about it, and so I think that's why I gave it 3 instead of 2.
No, because, I mean, that's fair. Some of the other books have just straight up made us angry, and they've just been not good quality, and they've been very poor overall.
Looking at you, Beauty and the Beast.
Yeah, right. This one, no, I'll give it to you. Efforts were made. Like I said, the beginning, I was really excited when I started. I was like, okay, this could be really interesting. And then, like you said, it just feels like someone was trying to meet a deadline and they watched the movie and wrote down verbatim some great one-liners that we like from the film. And it's like, okay, how can I write a story around getting these back in, but in a different way?
I don't know what it says about this author that she did such a job that I'm over here being like, give Liz her due. But Liz tries. We gave her a hard time in Beauty and the Beast because it was, oh, this is obviously trying to do bonding, but different. Like the cooking scene. Okay, they didn't do that in the movie, but oh, we're trying to bond and whatever. And we didn't like it, but I mean, she tried. Attempts were made.
Yes, there was some effort.
In all of the books, I've never been like, oh, this is the movie.
Yep. Maybe the closest we've come was Aladdin, because there were definitely parts of Aladdin that were just lifted straight from the movie, but not like this.
It was, but it was all in the beginning.
Yeah, you're right. That's fair. It's establishment. If they do use anything from the films, it's either establishment or ending. It's not the whole thing.
Yeah. Wow. Well, I guess this is a great time for Liz to pop back up in the series when I'm going, well, at least she's trying.
Yeah, we'll see how Liz tastes after this.
That is so sad. Oh my gosh. One question for the author. I would like to know her favorite Disney movie, just because I want to know whose idea was this. Was she like, please, 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 please? Or was Disney like, hey, we need a Frozen book, here you go?
Here you go. It should be the easiest one to write, so no worries.
Because I feel like she likes Snow White a lot better than she likes Frozen.
Mm-hmm.
The care and the imagination that went into Mirror Mirror versus this one, worlds apart.
Yeah.
And I'm just shocked the editor let her get away with it.
Listen, we have said the editors were done at this point, and I think we started saying that in book 2, because they obviously do not seem to care. I think I like what you said earlier. What do you have against the Duke of Wesselton? Why did you go so hard against that character?
Yeah, I have no idea. Rating, I would give this being stuck inside on a snowy day without hot chocolate out of 10. Very sad.
I would give this book a no carrot on a snowman out of 10.
Something missing, and it made my day significantly worse. Read again. No.
Nope, no point.
I'd watch the movie. This is going to be our shortest episode.
Yeah, because once again, how many ways can you say it's the movie but worse?
We sure did try, though.
Yeah, we did. Efforts were made. I feel like these books should be able to stand on their own, apart from the films they were based on, but this one does not.
But have you read this book? Would you have preferred a new book or a novelization of the movie? Do you have any book recommendations for us that aren't those? Tell us all about it in the comments below. If you like the video, hit like, and if you're enjoying yourself, hit subscribe for more. Thank you for exploring Conceal, Don't Feel with us. Join us next time when we'll be covering In High Places by Harry Turtledove. I'm Sam Reiner.
And I'm Caitlin.
And we hope to see you and a friend here next time. Escape With Me Book Club is Lunar Skulk production. Check us out on TikTok or Instagram to keep up to date with us. Lunar_SKULK.